Okay, my story started when my daughter turned 15. She was about 15 and a half. And, you know, when she was younger, she went to a Scientology school. And then when she was about 14, she went into a regular public school. And she was getting straight A's and B's, and she wanted to be a veterinarian. And we were looking at colleges. And out of the blue, my ex-husband, Jim Leake, took her to a staff recruiting film. I mean, that she had to watch at Church of Scientology in Los Gatos.
Here we are, children. Come and get your lollipops.
And after 3 hours being there, she came back home, wanted to drop out of school and dedicate her life to Scientology. All her dreams, all her goals, her education just was washed away. She said...
Oh, what did she tell you?
She told me that I want to work for Scientology, and I went down there and I realized it's my purpose in my life. And I want to get my GED so I can get out of school as soon as I can. And she was 15 and a half. So I said, no, absolutely not. You can decide that when you're 18. And I fought this for 6 months. I was in counseling myself, some Scientology counseling. They took me off what I was doing and put me in, it's called security checking, where they would interrogate me and ask me who was the one who did not want her to join staff.
I don't trust a man who makes toys in a land where children are forbidden.
And I said, me. I was her mom. I want her to stay in school. I want her to get an education. That's what's important. And she's too young to make this decision right now. I fought it for 6 months. They even, would pull in different people. They lied to me and had me go talk to a man named Pat Weiner, where I was taking classes at. And he was the one in charge of ethics. If you have a situation, you go to him, and he was also the mission holder at the time. And he said, I'm going to talk to you about this and help you. And he tricked me and had another person come in, and they made me go into the counseling. And it betrayed my trust in him, because I thought I could talk to him for help, and let alone they put me in, it was like a lie detector. And they kept saying, is it your father? Is it your stepdad? Who is the one who doesn't want Jessica on staff? Over and over again. And it was just awful, because I kept saying, it's me. And then they had me go to another area and go through that. This went on for months and months.
So all of this is designed to basically take your 15-and-a-half-year-old daughter and put her into a life of staff slave labor.
Right.
But they needed your consent.
And I would not agree.
And this is interesting because the church wants you to change your mind.
Right.
They want your legal consent. Then did they at any time threaten you with an SP declare at this point if you didn't cooperate?
Not at that point. What we did is they decided to put me in with a chaplain. He's a person who you talk to about family matters. And I was in with the chaplain with my daughter, my ex-husband, myself, and the mission holder. Many times we would all meet. And they would have me read things like, what is the greatest good? And I'm like, for her to stay in school, I just would not agree. Well, finally we came to an agreement that she would drop out of her public school after she had one more semester, because I thought that would buy me some time so she could really figure this out. I wanted time on my side. After she was finished her semester, then we agreed she'd go to a Scientology school and get her high school diploma. Little did I know, she got it in 3 months.
How do you get a high school diploma in 3 months?
Right, and she's 16. So but I made that agreement with her, and I let her join staff. It wasn't the Sea Org, it was signing a 5-year contract, and I told her, if you ever leave, you are responsible for that debt. You're going to have a debt, because if you want to leave, you have to pay back for all the many the services that you've gotten. After a month, she went to Florida to do her training. She was very homesick. 16 years old and wanted to come home. She came home, but before she came home, she had to do the security checking, asking her why she wanted to leave, and it racked up a bill of $10,000. Now my daughter's 16. She wants to get off staff, and she has a $10,000 debt at 16 years old.
That is shocking. Minors are not allowed to sign contracts.
I
They're
agree.
below the age of consent. So 16 years old, $10,000 debt,
Right.
homesick.
Right.
What happens next?
Well, my ex-husband and the church, basically told her she has to pay this or she can never do Scientology. And she chose to pay the debt, but after a couple days they made a deal with her that if she could get the money within 2 days, they would bring the price down to $6,000. And she had to, so she paid it by getting a loan from my mother, which was never paid back. Then she had to do 100 hours of amends for wanting to leave. Not only have to pay $6,000 and 100 hours of amends at 16 years old. Finally got her straightened out. She went back to school, took classes to become a preschool teacher. I got her a job at the school I used to work at. She was doing great. And then she met a boy who was on staff. And that was awful because he had some ethics conditions, and they separated the two of them for a year. And she's 17, really likes this boy, but they kept them separated. And I just thought that whole cycle was crazy.
Yeah,
And
it was crazy.
It was absolutely insane. And I just thought to keep two 17-year-olds separated for a year is impossible. I mean, but they worked through it.